Hi guys, so this is Ritu Tamrate and you are watching my channel Social Studies with Ritu. So today we are going to start a new chapter, that is Turkish invasion and the establishment of Delhi Sultanate. Right, so about Turks, or who were Turks, we have already read about these things like in our previous chapters. So we are not going to focus much upon Turks. So like a few things we are of course going to study about Turks, but we are not going to go in much details about these people, right? So let's get started. The Turks, the cultural vitality and brilliance of the Abbasid Caliphate in the 8th and 9th centuries. Okay, 9th centuries CE was followed by a decline in its political power by the end of the 9th century. So Abbasid Caliphate also, we have read about Abbasid Caliphate empire in our previous chapter. So if you want to have detailed information about these, then you can go to my previous videos and you can watch. Right, so the cultural vitality, like the Abbasid Caliphate had got their own empire, and their empire was full of full of life culturally, as far as their culture was concerned. Like, what is the meaning of culture, I have already explained, so again I'm not going to go in much detail about these words and like the stuff like that. So uh, the empire of Abbasid Caliphate was full of life as far as their culture was concerned, and it was also brilliant. But what happened? Uh, their empire that disintegrated or declined by the 9th century, right? And the once mighty Abbasid empire disintegrated into a number of independent states ruled by the Turks. So what happened? Once they had got a huge empire or very powerful empire, but that disintegrated with the passage of time by the end of the 9th century, and that the empire got disintegrated into small independent states, right? And these were the Turks people or Turkey people who started ruling these independent states. So, who were Turks? Turks used to be the slaves in the empire of Abbasid Caliphate, right? I mean, earlier they used to be slaves in the empire or in the reign of Abbasid Caliphates. But the same Turks, when the empire of Abbasid Caliphate, disintegrated or declined, then the same Turks now started ruling these independent states. Two important states established by Turks were Ghazni and Ghor, and now out of these independent states, two were quite popular, about which we are going to study in this chapter. The one is Ghazni and the other is Ghor. So the Muhammad of Ghazni, Sultan Muhammad Ghazni, was a powerful and ambitious ruler. He invaded India 17 times in the course of 25 years. So, who was Sultan Muhammad? Was the Muhammad of Ghazni, of course, and he, in his span of ruling of 25 years, he attacked India 17 times. So, what was the period? Like from 1001 year to 2000 to 1025 CE. So during this period of time, let me start my pen first. So during this period of time, he during the span of 25 years, he attacked India 17 times, right? He wanted to build a large army. See, during this period, like, this period is important, you can have in your head, in your mind, as far as your like examination and everything is concerned. You may be asked this question. He wanted to build a large, well equipped army to expand his kingdom and also to protect it from his enemies in Central Asia, right? So he had got like let me show you first where this Turkey was situated or is situated on the world map first, and then we will go ahead. So this is the map of Turkey. You can see the picture of Turkey or the land of Turkey, which is in this position of Asia, right? So let's go to the page once again. Central Asia. See here, Turkey is in the, let me once again show you the map. So as far as this map is concerned, Turkey is mainly in Western Asia. So this portion is Western Asia. See, this is Asia. This is Asia. So this is no wrong, because Turkey is, this is Asia, right? I'm not going to make Asia the full map of Asia, like just a casual or a working picture of working sketch of Asia, right? And some part like Turkey is in Western Asia, with a smaller portion in the southern eastern Europe. Okay, so right now I'm in Google and I can tell you the exact map location, which is, it says, Google says that Turkey is in Western Asia with a smaller portion on the Balkan Peninsula in southern eastern Europe. So a smaller part, Turkey is in Western Asia, that means the western part of Asia, with with a very small portion of it in the southern eastern Asia, Europe, right? So this is where Turkey is now. Let's go to the page. See, so what he wanted to do, he wanted to build a large, well-equipped army to expand his kingdom and also to protect it from his enemies in Central Asia. So let's go once again to the map. See, so here we are talking about a ruler whose name was Muhammad Ghazni. He wanted to expand his kingdom, of course, and he also wanted to keep its state and his armies protected from the enemies in the Central Asia. So this portion, like he had got some kind of like threats from this portion of Asia, or the central portion of Asia. So he wanted to keep his armies and his state protected from the enemies from the Central Asia. So I'm showing you all the maps and location and position of everything, because that is going to help you in learning, first of all, your chapter, and secondly, that's really going to help you remember all your lessons, all your things, aspects related to each and every chapter. So this is the beauty of map. This is the importance of, you know, having a look at maps all the time whenever you study history or geography. To fulfill his aims, he needed money. The fabulous riches of the temples of North India attracted him, right? So what he wanted to do, he wanted to expand his kingdom, no doubt. He wanted to expand uh, his empire, but uh, uh, for this purpose, for this purpose, or the fulfillment of this purpose of his, you know, he needed a lot of money, and he, in order to supply money, or in order to um, fulfill the demands of money, for this purpose to be fulfilled, he was attracted towards the temples of North India, because the temples of North India were extremely rich, right? The temples of North India. So again, let's go to the map once again. See here, India. So this portion, North India. So Okay, sorry, this portion. North India, this portion, there were so many temples. So uh, Muhammad Ghazni was attracted. Muhammad Ghazni was actually attracted North India, the temples of North India, right? The riches which were there, the treasures, the wealth which the temples of North India contained or were possessing. Muhammad Ghazni was attracted towards this wealth because he wanted to keep himself protected. He wanted to keep his states and armies protected, safe from all his enemies. And for the fulfillment of this purpose, he needed a lot of money, he needed treasures, and on account of this fact, he got attracted towards the riches of the temples in India, and that is why, for the fulfillment of his purpose, he attacked India 17 times in the 25 years span of time, right? See here, he attacked India 17 times in the course of 25 years. At that time, North India was divided and there was no unity, right? So India was divided, of course, at that time. There was no unity. India was divided. India itself was divided into so many different independent states. So there was no unity, of course. The ambitious Rajputs, deeply absorbed in mutual rivalries, failed to understand the gravity of the situation. Muhammad of Ghazni attacked India and plunders its riches. So what happened? India itself was divided into different independent states, and all these states were being ruled by different Rajput rulers, and these Rajput kings were engaged in mutual rivalries. Mutual rivalries means they mutual rivalries means they were against each other, like they were against one another, and they used to fight against one another all the time, right? So this is what is called mutual rivalries. Like there was no unity among them, and they used to fight against each other every time. So, and that is why, on account of the fact that there was no unity among them, they did not understand the gravity of the situation, like the how the situation was grave and how much serious the situation was. They failed to understand this fact due to their mutual rivalries, right? Now now Muhammad Ghazni took advantage of this situation, right? Now what happened? Muhammad Ghazni took advantage of this situation and he attacked India and plundered its riches. Plundered means he robbed India of its riches. Robbed means, uh, in Hindi, you can call it as dakati kar lena. Rob, rob in English, plunder, you can call it plunder, rob, and in Hindi you can call it as dakati kar lena. So this is what he did. Muhammad Ghazni plundered India of all its riches, or you could also write it like this: Muhammad Ghazni robbed India of all its riches, right? Now we will study important raids. So Muhammad Ghazni, we have already read how many times he attacked India. So he attacked India 17 times in the duration of 25 years, right? So here we are going to study the important raids. That means he attacked India, of course, 17 times, but we have not to, like, we are not supposed to read about all the attacks, but we will of course read about some of the important raids or some of the important attacks, carried out by Muhammad Ghazni. So raids means what? Attacks carried out by Muhammad Ghazni. So war against Jaipal. So who was Jaipal? So let's study this. Muhammad first defeated Jaipal, the Hindu ruler. Just too large. Yeah, this is Now this is all right. Muhammad first defeated Jaipal. Who was Jaipal? Jaipal was a Hindu ruler of Punjab, whose territory. Oh my God! Here it is so black. Nothing is clear. Nothing is clear. So, so he was a Hindu ruler of Punjab, whose territory extended from the Punjab to present day Afghanistan, right? So Jaipal was forced to pay tribute, unable to bear the humiliation of the defeat. Jaipal burned himself to death. So once again we will have to go to the map. So this is map, but here, see here, this is here. In this portion we have got our present day Punjab, but I cannot show you properly Afghanistan or the territory owned by or ruled by uh, Jaipal. So let's go to another map. So this is the another map, and here we can see the position of Turkey. See, this is Turkey. Let me change. This is Afghanistan. See, this is Afghanistan, and this is India, of course, and here Punjab somewhere. It is not written, like everything is not possible to be given in the map. So here Punjab, right? So Jaipal, the rule of Jaipal was up to this portion, like present day Punjab, up to Afghanistan. So let me show you. See here, uh, whose territory extended from the Punjab to present day Afghanistan. So see here, from this portion to this portion, from here to here. So the territory ruled by the Hindu ruler called Jaipal was extended from Punjab to Afghanistan. So I have shown you in the map the territory owned by the ruler called Jaipal. I think his name is Jaipal, na? Yes, Jaipal. Right. So, Jaipal was forced to pay tribute, right? So he was forced to pay tribute. Pay tribute means he was forced by Muhammad Ghazni to honor him, right? I mean, Muhammad Ghazni compelled him or Jaipal to honor him, right? So give to he compelled Jaipal, the Hindu ruler, to give honor to him or to respect him, right? But unable to bear that humiliation, or it is already written here that Muhammad Ghazni won the war against Jaipal, and he defeated Jaipal, and he won the victory against Jaipal. He won his territory, and after that he compelled Jaipal to give honor to him. But Jaipal, as a Hindu ruler, he could not bear that humiliation, that disrespect, that disrespect, and you could also write like he could not bear, or he could not stand that disrespect, that scorn or disregard given by Muhammad Ghazni to him. So he committed suicide by burning himself alive. War against Anandpal, right? So this is the another war he carried out against Anandpal. So who was Anandpal? Anandpal was Jaipal's son and successor, formed an alliance with the rulers of some of the important states of western and central India. Now what happened? He already won the war against Jaipal, but Anandpal was Jaipal's son, and he, like, now what he did, he made an alliance, or he made an association. He made an association with the help of some of the rulers from, see here, he made an association or alliance with the help of some of the rulers of the important states of Western and Central Asia, Central India. So this is important point. You could be asked this question, right? Like with the help of which important states, or with the help of which rulers of which important states Anandapal made his alliance or made his association, right? So this is the right answer, that he made his alliance with the help of the rulers uh, of Western and Central Asia, right? They made elaborate arrangements to repulse Ghazni and protect their states and culture. Fine. So what they did, they made elaborate arrangements. So what they did, they made, uh, uh, I mean, uh, some plans. They made huge plans. They made complicated plans. Right. Elaborate means you could write. I am trying to explain this word before you. That they made some complex or complicated plans. They made some complicated arrangements because they knew that Ghazni was very powerful, and it was very difficult. It would be very difficult for them to expel Ghazni out of India. So, on account of this fact, they decided that they would make some complicated plans, or some detailed, like intricate plans rather, in order to repulse means expel Ghazni out of India. So this is what they did, and they why they wanted to do so? They wanted to do so because they wanted to save. See here, they wanted to protect their states and culture. They did not want their states or culture to go into the hands of Ghazni, an outsider. So the grave threat of foreign invasion inspired the people to rise to the defense of their land. So what happened? They knew, or the people of India, or Anandpal and his alliance, or the kings of India, the rulers of India at that time, they knew that it was quite important for them to protect their states. It was quite important for them to protect India or their motherland uh, from the foreign attacks, from the foreign invasions. And that is why people were quite inspired. People were quite ready to protect it from the foreign invasion or from the clutches of outsiders. So so they were quite motivated, right? They were inspired to protect their motherland. So what happened? It is said that even women sold their jewelries, melted their gold ornaments, and sent their contributions from distant places to help in the war efforts. So what happened? Even women were ready to give their contribution towards this war, which could save India from the foreign clutches. Right? So what they did, they melted their gold ornaments and they sold them out in order to have money, and they wanted to contribute this money in the efforts of war, which could keep India safe from the foreign invasions, right? So, however, Anandpal and his allies were defeated. This opened the way for the future inroads into the heart of India. But what happened at last? Uh, these Indian rulers were defeated by Muhammad Ghazni, because we have already read that he was a powerful ruler, he was a powerful military leader, or he was a great leader as far as uh, wars were concerned. He was a great leader in armed forces. Who? Ghazni. Muhammad Ghazni was a very powerful leader in his armed forces. So it was it was not possible. It was literally not possible for the rulers of India to defeat him, right? But it was not easy, but it was not very difficult for Muhammad Ghazni to win a victory over Indian rulers. So he won a victory over Indian rulers. He won against them, and at last it was like when he won a victory over Indian rulers. Then what happened? See here. This opened the way for future inroads into the heart of India. So what happened as he won a victory, as he conquered Indian rulers, as he conquered India? This opened a way, like now there was no hurdle, or there were no hurdles if anybody wanted to uh, you know mm, you know anybody wanted to come inside the country, anybody wanted to come into India. So it was not no longer difficult for anybody. So this opened the way for future inroads into the heart of India. Now it was possible for them, for the outsiders, to come inside India very easily. So later, most of Muhammad's attacks were directed at the temple towns of North India. So North India we have already seen. So this is North India, this portion. See, this portion is North India, and there were so many temples over here. This portion, so many temples, and these temples were quite rich. These temples possessed a lot of riches in them, right? These temples possessed a lot of wealth in them. You could also write that these temples of North India possessed a plethora of wealth, right? These temples of India, or these uh, temples of North India possessed plethora of wealth, or these temples of India possessed wealth in abundance, right? So this was the main and important reason what attracted Muhammad Ghazni, and he wanted to attack India in order to plunder, in order to rob India of its riches and wealth, right? So hundreds of temples were plundered and destroyed. So what happened? Hundreds of temples were plundered and destroyed. So I think there is a huge noise somewhere around. So okay, let's keep it up to here only. Okay, now this noise has gone. Oh my god, otherwise I today I could not have continued with it. Like once again it has started. So let it be up to here, riches as well. So we are going to start it from the hundreds of temples were plundered and destroyed in our next video. So if you like my ways of teaching, my ways of explanation, then like my videos, give a big fat thumbs up to my video, and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press on the bell icon, of course, which is just right next to the subscribe button, so that you could get all the notifications whenever I upload my videos, right? So till then, bye bye. We will be meeting in our next video with the next part of this chapter.